Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a new edition of the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports City Network. Mike and Dan with you. Dan, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Um, never better. Just glad that baseball's back. Even if the Yankees continue to really disappoint me. But I'm glad baseball's back from All-Star break. It was a very interesting All-Star break. I know you and Pat recapped a lot of that festivities. So again, congrats to the American League. They win the All-Star game. Yay.
Again. Yeah,
Yeah,
Pat.
it's like you think the National League would just finally just start streaking and win.
No,
Well, no,
no.
you could put the best players in the National League. I don't know what it is. Oh, it was the Red Sox.
It was,
Oh my God, how terrible, dude.
uh, yeah, the National League, it's every year. The American League's won 10 out of 11. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
so all the talent in the National League is not going to matter. Yeah,
uh,
but,
it, it's
but,
Go ahead.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's funny because the National League scored 3 runs, all via the Shohei Ohtani 3 run home run.
Yep.
Someone I don't know if it was online or one of my friends said, "Oh, it's like he never left the Angels." The National League offensively.
Oh my God.
Oh, 10 hits, couldn't score. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But
So that's the All-Star game front, obviously. If you want to do more recap, you can go to our YouTube page. They were live for All-Star recaps. So you tune in there. All I have to say on it is, look, I think it was a look for an All-Star game, look, usually All-Star games are boring. Um, this wasn't too bad. It was had a lot of flair for the dramatic. Um, Durant's with a 3 run, what was it, a 2 run home run, 3 run home run? What was it?
for Durant, it was a 2 run shot.
Yeah. So it was a 2 run home run that gave them the lead. Obviously Juan Soto, in the middle innings as well, with the AL's attempted comeback. And of course they successfully did that. Um, yeah, I mean, look, the look, it was fun, but at the end of the day, it's the All-Star game. It's showing off the popularity, which is what it's supposed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it did that this year. Does it always get it right? No. Wish the game could be a little not long, but you know, um, but it did its job. It got the star power in there, and the ratings were up. I think baseball's gonna be very happy with that. The ratings were up.
Yeah, the ratings were great. My one issue, and I'm going to keep pounding the table for. Can they wear their own uniforms? Like the American League uniforms were terrible.
Rifkin is never going to give this up. Never.
I don't. I shouldn't have to give this up. These uniforms, just have them wear their team uniform.
And look, I get it. I'm the only sucker in this room that actually does not care what uniform wear they wear. They can wear their home uniform, and that's great. They could continue to wear those sloppy joes that they were wearing, and it's fine because it doesn't matter. You came here for the players. Who cares what the players wear? So
I,
that's where I stand on that. But
all it is
but
is
it's funny because it's a switcheroo.
Mhm.
They used to wear the all-star uniforms for the home run derby and then their regular jerseys for the game. Now it's complete opposite. They
Mhm.
the regular jerseys for the home run derby, and then the all-star game they wear their all-star uniforms, which you know. a complete switch.
Yeah, the only look someone online is going to say this, and I know the only point of the uniform is for Major League Baseball to make more money. Totally get it. Does not mean they do a good job. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we've dived in on the All Star game.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Off topic, but it was good. Uh, Today is also the Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremony up in Cooperstown, New York. This year's class will be made up of Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton, and Jim Leland. So, congrats to all four of those guys. And Dan, we're getting to a point now where guys we grew up watching are getting the calls for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, the one that really sticks out, the two, as I should say, that sticks out the most, Joe Mauer and Adrian Beltre.
Mhm.
We knew Todd Helton was getting in. Um, but
Both
those are the
first
two.
ballot. Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, those are the two that, you know, and I love Todd Helton. The problem was he played with the Rockies, so it's like I didn't get to see him play much. You know, Adrian Beltre, was a force in the American League. Joe Mauer, he didn't give me much nightmares, but I respected his play all the time. Um, so those are the two. The Yankees always played them. They stuck out to me a lot, and I appreciate the way that they played the game. It's not that I didn't watch Todd Helton play. It's just that
He was in Colorado.
I had a more vested interest with
Mhm.
players like Mauer and Beltre because they both played on American League teams.
Right.
Yankees face them all the time, so I watched them a lot. And I know the type of competitiveness that Joe Mauer, even though he never won anything in Minnesota, how much of a competitor he is, how great of a player he is. I still argue he's not first ballot, but I respected his play. And then Beltre's a home run machine. And those are the two that, I grew up watching a lot and I respect their play. And I'm happy that they're in the Hall of Fame and stuff.
Yeah.
Jim Leland is another one, but he's been a manager everywhere. Um, and you know he's another awesome old timer that just gets the game and understood the game and managed the game well. So a real big congratulations to him as well. So yeah.
Yeah, for Belcher, I think the number was 477 on the home runs, over 3,000 hits, four gold gloves. He was a spectacular player. Joe Mauer, I know you said you didn't think he was first ballot. I love Joe Mauer. I love Joe Mauer for multiple reasons. The story is one Minnesota kid
Mhm.
drafted first overall by the Minnesota Twins, and then goes and plays his whole career there.
Yeah.
There's something special about that
Yeah.
for me.
But I go off of performance and play and impact.
Mm-hmm.
It's great that you came from Minnesota. What impact did you have on the Twins? Nothing. You didn't win. The Twins always got out of the division series against the Yankees.
I mean, the
So that's the
Yankees
like
own the Twins.
that's the legacy of Joe Mauer. But he's a great player. I'm not denying that he was a great player. And obviously, the added element of a hometown kid is
The
incredible.
pressure,
For
you know.
baseball. And he played well. He played very well. I'm not denying that.
Mhm.
It's not a first ballot performance to me.
I think he got in first bout because of the position being he was a primary catcher, multiple batting titles, an MVP.
And
He was a very good player.
Thurman Munson's better than him. Sorry.
Listen, that's what this does. This sparks the debate. Why is this guy in and out this guy? I get it. Look, we could have this conversation about a lot of people. Why
Mattingly,
is it
come
Keith
on now.
Hernandez or Dom Mattingly in the Hall of Fame? You know,
Hernandez.
like that. These are questions.
Hernandez had a better career than Joe Mauer. Can we acknowledge that? I know they're two different time periods,
Yeah,
but come on now.
11 Gold Gloves, 2 World Series, an MVP. I'm very happy that they put Todd Helton
Yeah.
because I've been scared over the years that they weren't going to put Todd Helton in based on the Coors Field effect. But
But
then,
you understand how stupid that sounds, though?
no,
It's
oh,
not
I
a
know.
great then, you know?
Oh, I trust me. I get it. But once they put Larry Walker in, I was like, all right, Todd Helton's got a real shot here,
I
and
concur.
let's try to push him over the hump a little bit. They got that done, thankfully. And Jim Leland, he won in Pittsburgh, he won in Florida, and he won in Detroit. He just didn't, get to win the World Series with those Tiger teams, but outstanding career.
Yeah, but you know what? With help, you know,
Oh yeah,
it's very hard to do what he did. He
100%.
hit 300 for his career. You know how hard it is? Only 21 players do it.
Yeah. Oh, I trust me.
And you want to, and you're talking about Coors Field in Colorado. It's not easy to play in Colorado. Every player says it.
Yeah.
He did for his career
Oh, I trust me.
at the highest level too.
100%. Todd Helton is very worthy.
Yeah.
Uh, so again, congrats to all. Just looking into next year, here's the list of the first time eligibles for next year. Yankees legend Melky Cabrera,
No,
David Freese,
not on the first ballot.
no, Carlos Gomez,
Oh,
Carlos Gonzalez, Curtis Granderson,
oh.
Felix Hernandez, Edwin Jackson, who deserves to be there just because of the amount of teams he played for, Adam Jones,
No,
Ian
no,
Kinsler,
no.
Francisco Liriano, Russell Martin,
Ew.
Brian McCann, who could be very interesting on the list, Kendrys Morales.
What sense though with Brian McCann?
So if you look at McCann's numbers, he reached 20 homers 10 different years, which is the second most for a catcher.
Okay.
Um, Let me see what else. He retired as one of only 12 catchers in history of baseball with at least 1,000 RBIs. He's won a World Series. I'm not saying he'd get in, but he's one of those guys that I would like to see get that 5% next year. That
Yeah.
way he remains on the ballot.
I think he remains on the ballot, but the problem is that if he gets in, which I don't think he will, it's probably going to be one of those like last minute,
Yeah.
you know, Larry Walker type deals where he barely gets over the hump, which
Right.
is tough
I would
sell.
just if I was a writer, I would probably just write it, just hope he gets the 5%. That way I have more time to think about him and he
Yeah,
just doesn't dive off.
yeah.
Uh Kendrys Morales, Dustin Pedroia.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
100%.
all right. I'm glad. I'm a Pedroia guy too. Martin Prado, Hanley Ramirez, Mark Reynolds, Fernando Rodney, who, like Edwin Jackson, should get him for the amount of teams he played for. CC Sabathia, who I am
Thousand. 1,000%.
Yeah, I'm in. Ichiro, who should be
Yes.
unanimous.
If anyone votes no for Ichiro, you're the Reds are out
You're
the.
wrong.
I'm sorry.
Troy Tulowitzki and Ben Zobrist.
You should lose your vote if you vote no for Ichiro. You should vote no. Another one that I'm watching. I'm actively watching a couple. Adam Jones is an interesting one too.
Hmm.
I'm not saying I don't think he gets it. Just so you know, I don't think he gets it.
Right.
But 282 home runs, 277. I mean that, and played for the Orioles when it mattered. They didn't win anything. I think that's good enough numbers, to get in. I don't think it's going to be enough though. That's a player I would watch. So that's another one of those Brian McCann types where
Yeah.
just write him in for now, let him get over the threshold to get into next year and let people have more thought of it.
And I'm with you on Pedroia because I thought Dustin Pedroia, absolute gamer, absolute stud. It's a shame injuries ruined his career at the end, but he was a phenomenal second baseman.
Well, for someone his height and size, we're talking about Altuve,
Yeah,
possibly being a Hall of Famer. Pedroia is not that far off height
yeah.
wise. So, and Pedroia, look, Pedroia was a great hitter. He was a pure hitter, RBI machine, and a lot of those Red Sox teams won because of him.
Yeah, he won 3 World Series.
Like he won those World Series. You can't tell me that it was just David. No, Pedroia was a absolute. He was a pain to deal with. He was a pain in the ass to deal with, and he was a very competitive ball player. So I really hope that the Hall of Fame gives him the chance. I think they will. I think a lot of writers, I think, like Pedroia. So I think they will give him a chance. I don't know if he gets in first ballot, but he's 100% a Hall of Famer. Um, I will be really happy if they can get him a first ballot shoe in. That'd be really nice.
That'd be great. I don't know if he's gonna get in first ballot, like you said, but he should absolutely get in.
And of course, he CC Sabathia in there. That should definitely be a first ballot. I don't care what anyone says. Uh, I don't know how many votes he gets though. That's the problem.
Listen, he was one of the best pitchers during his era. He deserves to get. He deserves to get it just based on what he did in the 2008 trade deadline when he went from Cleveland to Milwaukee, and he put that Brewers team on his back to win the wild card. And then he became the ace of the Yankees.
The team he initially didn't want to go to, but he did, and won the World Series. So
And if you needed a big start, CC was the guy.
yeah, in his tail end of this years, obviously, CC was not very good, but when it mattered, in that point of the contract, when that mattered, he delivered. And CC is just an all-time pitcher. He's a gamer, man. So yeah, I really hope that he gets uh, a good chunk of that first ballot vote. Um, but like I said, Ichiro needs to be like Mariano, 100%. I don't know what dumbass would vote no. Sorry.
Listen, someone voted no on Derek Jeter.
Yeah, but that's Derek Jeter.
No, I know.
Like
Look, I'm with you.
you
I,
know,
I think I'm.
Ichiro. There is. Come on now, you come from Japan where you already played a trillion years, and you don't skip a beat in Major League Baseball.
Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year. Became the all-time hit leader. He was such a dynamite player for
Yeah.
so long.
A great game figure too.
And he underrated. He had a great arm in the outfield. You don't run on Ichiro.
That's the funny part.
Like,
Who would think a toothpick like Ichiro would have a
oh,
strong arm to the plate? I mean, come on now.
he had a great arm. He did everything on the baseball field except for hit homers, but he didn't have to because he would be at third base of the blink of an eye.
Yeah, sorry. No. I'm not
So
looking,
good.
looking at Ichiro to hit the ball, to for his speed. Eventually, with the Yankees, started bunting. Something he didn't do in Seattle. He didn't do in Seattle. He didn't bunt a lot. And he bunted well. So there are a bunch of things, and of course, his defensive play is just terrific. So
He was phenomenal. And over the next couple of years, we're gonna start seeing certain numbers go up, like the voting percentages, because you said Ichiro should be a unanimous guy. Well, eventually Miguel Cabrera should be unanimous, and Albert Pujols is going to be a unanimous vote, or should be.
should be.
So wait to see those announcements for the announcement for next year come in January. So, but
Yeah,
today in Cooperstown we celebrate Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton, and Jim Leland.
yeah, and
Congrats to all.
yeah. Congrats to all, and also sending love to Joe Castiglione, the
Yep,
longtime
Red Sox broadcaster.
Sox. He's the Ford Frick Award um, winner this year. So
That goes to broadcasters for those who don't know.
yeah,
So yes, congratulations to Joe Castiglione as well. But as Dan had mentioned at the top, All-Star break has ended. We are into the dog days of summer. We are 9 days away from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And the second half has gotten started for everybody. So, Dan, give me a team or two from now until the deadline you're kind of keeping an eye out on.
Yankees, because I don't know what their team's going to look like when they get everyone back. One and two, let's say they don't get everyone back. They just lost badly to the Rays yesterday. What's that going to look like? I would keep an eye on the Yankees to see if they make moves. Um, the Dodgers, even though they're starting to get players back, they're eyeing pitching. I know they're getting Clayton Kershaw back. I know that.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're going to get Kershaw and
back to
Glass now back next week or
so
this week.
that, but that doesn't mean they can't still eye pitching. So
Mhm.
on that and some hitting. Um, by the way, nice thrilling win for the Dodgers last night. It was a
Two straight thrillers.
back and forth with that game. The Red Sox kept taking the lead, the Dodgers kept coming back. It was one of those great things. So I would keep an eye on the Yankees, the Dodgers, the main big time people trying to get in. I know a team to look out to sell a lot is the White Sox. And the White Sox, I think, are going to throw it in the towel. And I think it's time that they do. And regroup, restart. You don't have to go full rebuild because there's still some good players there, but obviously not even close to being enough to build a championship right now. So more like a retooling phase. You're trying to figure out who the star is. You're trying to figure out who's going to be here for the future. They have a lot of decisions to make between now and the deadline. What they're going to do with their players because a lot of them can't stay, and tough situation in Chicago on the south side.
So, from a buyer's perspective, I'm curious on a few. I'm curious, what does Cleveland look to do?
I don't know. Do they stand pat? They have the best record in the league, though.
But they could use another starting pitcher for sure. I'm not sure they'd go like big game hunting, but if there's a mid rotation piece, maybe they go out and get that.
Their pitching been stout.
Oh, their bullpen's phenomenal.
I mean,
Trust me.
they're
Uh,
they're they're ones that would definitely play the sabermetric card.
mhm.
They don't necessarily need the pitcher to go as long as they have a good bullpen.
Give me 5 innings. Boom.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious about the direction the Rays go in because they're right around 500.
Do they make a push for a third wild card? I mean,
Yeah, you know, what do the Rangers do? I mean, that's tough.
I'm really shocked with this World Series hangover the Rangers.
Yeah, yeah.
Injuries, yes, but not this bad. Not
No, it's not even all the pitching, which we thought would be
yeah.
the problem. The offense has been inconsistent, and that's you know what
By
really
another,
carried them last year.
another bad loss against the Orioles again.
Oh,
Um,
Max
Orioles
Scherzer got roughed up.
yeah, who are surging. The Orioles are another team that if they want to buy, they can.
Oh yeah,
So
and by the way, they have the prospects to do whatever the heck they want.
exactly. And
Um,
they know which ones are not worthy. They know which ones are worthy.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
you know,
And then I think there's a couple of teams in the middle. What do the Giants wind up doing? What do the Cubs wind up doing? Two teams coming out of the break. The Giants just lost a series to the Rockies. They'll play the third game today. And the Cubs are getting beaten up by the Diamondbacks in Wrigley. So those are two also that I'm kind of keeping an eye out for. From the seller's perspective, Toronto Blue Jays. What do I do with Vlad? What is this whole situation going to be? Because this team, I kept calling them a sleeping giant. They're a massive failure and a massive disappointment.
but is it worthy to sell? You can punt on this year for sure. I don't think it's worth it for this year. You can punt.
Right.
But selling off players, unless players are not happy in Toronto, that's when you sell. If they're just going through a bad year, but they want to stay, that's another aspect of it. Maybe it's not about getting the good players, maybe it's about getting the right players.
Well, the problem would be, and I'm only going to bring up Vlad because he's been the guy and under speculation because of his contract. He's up after next year.
They're not signing that contract.
Right. If you're not going to sign him and you don't move on from him now, when do you move? Do you think about it this winter? But most teams are going to say, well, do I only want to rent Vlad for a year or can I rent him for a year and a half and make a run? Like Vlad Guerrero would look really good in a Seattle Mariner jersey right now.
Okay.
Or he'd look good in, wherever you want to put him.
I'm thinking also, I mean, they don't want to spend, but I would think Chicago too. Chicago would love him.
Right.
I know they're crowded now on wherever all positions basically, but wouldn't help to have a DH in Vlad Guerrero.
Right. I'll put him at first base. There are spots for guys, and if you get the offer that you're looking for, of course you have to say at least consider it. But Bo Bichette just went on the injured list again. You know, are they going to listen on some of their other starting pitchers? Who knows? But I feel like the Toronto Blue Jays missed an opportunity that has now passed them by for this reason. One, the Yankees are better, but two and three, the Orioles have passed them by. And all of a sudden, the Boston Red Sox have also passed them by just this year based on how the Red Sox have played. But longer term, I believe more in the Red Sox than I do the Toronto Blue Jays, just based on how it stacks up.
Yeah, and which is tough. This is the problem with playing the hardest division in baseball. And it truly is the hardest division in baseball. You're gonna have a lot of good teams that are gonna miss the playoffs because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's they're close, but another team passes them, or whether it's they are in a division that's so good that they just they lose so many games and then it just trickles down, and like the Blue Jays, they're just not there's just no man's land. Um,
Yeah. I
tough.
mean, we are 9 days away from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. We'll have you covered here.
Yep.
All right. Again, opened up the second half with a big series in Seattle between the Astros and the Mariners. And for the first time in 2024, the Houston Astros enter the day in first place in the American League West.
Yeah, I
At
tell you,
one point, they were 10 games out and they were 12
tell
games
you,
under 500. And now they are back at the top because it is who they are and what they do.
you cannot count out the Houston Astros. You can't do it. When I saw that bad record at first, I'm like, you watch mid-season, they're gonna come alive. Don't count out the Astros. Don't be stupid. You can be shocked by how they started. You can be like, oh man, this is bad baseball. But don't say, you know what, I think it's time. It's over. No, it's not
No,
over.
no.
It's not over. You got people with contracts coming up. You think that they're gonna stop playing? You had your mind?
The back of the baseball card always plays.
Jesus Christ, man.
These guys just they find ways.
Yeah.
They find ways. They win the first two games of this series against the Mariners.
Oh.
They've they've bounced back after a really tough start. Remember the first series of the year? You would know as a Yankee fan, but the Astros had a chance in all of those games. They led at one point and they choked it up.
Or Juan Soto just got big hit after big hit after big hit. But who's to say? You know.
But they found a way to bounce back. They've been the best team in baseball since early June, if you look record wise. And they're doing this right now with a lot of injuries within the rotation, especially. But guys like Bregman got hot. Altuve is still Altuve. Yordan Alvarez. They just everyone contributes. It's a winning mentality.
And it's on brand with the Astros.
Yeah.
On brand.
It,
It's not just one player, it's all of them.
there's there is no I in Houston Astros,
Mhm.
guys.
Yep.
It is just it's it I know people hate them based on what happened in 2017.
Putting that to the
You
side.
gotta respect them.
No. I'm sorry. Like, look, of course, I have animosity to the
Mhm.
but but this team is consistently good. And it's probably one of the best jobs that they've done in baseball over the past decade. You know, how much they've grown. And it's just shocking that they had to wait until the end of the American League to get this to happen. They couldn't do this in the National League, damn it. When they were you know, near no wins in the NL.
Listen, they knew what they would do. They were like, "Oh, we're switching leagues. We're gonna change up the uniforms, and we're going, baby. We're changing the look."
But no, the Astros, tremendous, tremendous team,
Yeah.
and be on the lookout because they now passed all the AL West, and they're gonna go to the World Series again.
Oh, I'm just gonna flip this.
Watch your bet, Guardians. Don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable, Cleveland. Watch your backs. If you want to go to the World Series, beat the Astros.
I'm just gonna flip this for a second for the Mariners because they dropped an awful series to the Angels right before the break,
Horrible.
and now they've dropped this. It's you
This is the
can't
Seattle. This is the Seattle I expected. Go ahead,
you
though.
can't stand pat anymore. You have to go out there. You have to find a way to bring in some a bat.
That's the problem. Like this is my concern. Beginning of the year, they don't have any pop.
Yeah, outside of Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh, they
You
haven't hit, and
know,
that's a problem.
this is what I expected from Seattle. I expected a lackluster look-alike because of the fact that they did not get anyone in the offseason.
Yeah, the guys they did bring in haven't hit. Jorge Polanco hasn't hit. Mitch Garver hasn't hit, and now all of a sudden, if I pitch around Julio Rodriguez, well, it's a simple lineup to get through.
I know they didn't stand a chance with Teoscar Hernandez, but if they found
Man, that would have been a good bring
if they
back.
if they found a way to keep him in Seattle, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah, that would have worked. That they need something here. They need something to get the juices going offensively.
the real question is who'd want to go there, you know? Because at some point you have to start asking that question. As we're very thrilled with Seattle, we're very happy with their growth. We're very at some point they're stagnant. Who want to go to a team that's stagnant? That's boring, that's uninspired to do anything.
Like I said before, Vlad Guerrero would look great in that uniform.
I mean,
Um,
if it works out, it works out.
right. If you could find a way to make that deal, you can make that deal. But the other problem, could Josh Chisholm go over there and play second base? Maybe. You know, I don't know what else is going to be. At the moment, we really don't know what else is out there, but they're going to have to figure that out because now you're getting into a position where the American League is so crowded. That wild card space is so crowded. The division is it's you and the Astros. And if the Rangers ever, if the Rangers can find a way back, but they're still alive. But tough series for the Mariners to come back from the break. All right. And then earlier this week, the 2025 schedule was released. Just a couple of notables. The Cubs and the Dodgers are going to open up next year in Japan. So homecoming for Shohei Ohtani and Seiya Suzuki. The one thing I loved about this, two things I loved about the schedule. One, season's going to end September 28th instead of going all the way, going into early October.
Thank
But
God.
but two, rivalry week where for a couple of dates. I think it's in May. Every series is either going to be your geographical rival or, it's some form of a rivalry. So you're going to see Mets, Yankees, Braves, Red Sox, Cubs, White Sox, all in this happening at the same time. I love that. So,
Now because of the expanded sort of rivalry type of thing, you're
mhm,
going to notice that there will be a couple teams that will actually have fewer games against non-division league opponents, which
mhm,
is a change. So that's so expect some teams to have more American League matchups, and some teams more have more National League matchups, which
mhm.
is a change. But man, this rivalry weekend, like
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
you're talking about on the same weekend, you're talking about the Mets and the Yankees, the Cubs and the White Sox. And I really hope the problem is that I'm just afraid that a lot of these teams aren't going to be any good. So
Yeah.
it's like it's going to defeat the purpose of the whole thing. It's a great concept if teams are good. Like if the Yankees and the Mets stay good, which I think they will, that's going to be must watch, and it
Hmm.
better not be on Apple TV. Better be on New York television for fans to watch. Um, yeah, so it's a good concept if they're good. That's my only thing. And if
Well,
they're not good, you gotta hope and pray that they have some really good series to talk about, play some good baseball because
the other thing is though, even if you're a bad team, you get up to play your crosstown rival or whatever. So,
I mean, I guess the local fans will be into it because of bragging rights.
yeah, but you're right. You're right about nationally. So
Yeah. Um, I don't know if I consider the Angels and the Dodgers a rivalry. I'm sorry. Like
it used to be.
I know, but it's like I don't know. Like it's the Angels are not they're not Los Angeles. They're not. I know they're within the same metroplex, whatever you want to call it. They're not in Los Angeles. They're not.
They're in Anaheim.
They're Anaheim. And can we rename them the Anaheim Angels like they used to be?
Or rename them the California Angels again.
That too. I'll be okay with that as well.
Yeah. So schedule was released for next year. Go check
Um,
it out.
yeah, Yankees will play 52 division games, 62 total non-division, no interleague games, and 48 interleague games. And they will open up on the what is now the traditional opening day, March 27th. They'll be facing Milwaukee, excuse me, and the Bronx. So we start off the season not playing an American League team.
Hmm.
Maybe in the 70s it would be, but the Brewers are now.
Oh, you know what's interesting about this year's schedule? The Mets opened up with the Brewers, and they're going to end the season with the Brewers. So that is very interesting. But yeah, so the schedule for next year has been released. We'll dive off of that. On to the series of the week. We talked about Mets Yankees earlier with rivalry week. Well, the last two games of the Subway Series for the season are this week, Tuesday and Wednesday, in the Bronx. If the Mets win one of them, they would win the season series. That's all I'm going to say.
Which they will. They'll win. The Yankees continue to disappoint. I think they'll be in the playoffs. They continue to disappoint and upset their fan base, with their garbage play. So I have no doubt that the Mets win the season series, whether they completely sweep the Yankees or whether the Yankees just get one.
Now the Yankees have talked about they might be getting Giancarlo Stanton back
Yeah, that's
at some
surfacing
point.
around. I just don't know when though.
From what I've read, it's supposed to be sometime this week. The one thing I don't get is I don't know why they're not making him do any minor league rehab stuff, but who am I to judge?
Um, I mean, it's certainly up to them. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't think it's necessary. They don't think it's necessary.
Also, I don't know if you heard. Did you hear the shade Luis Severino threw at the Yankees?
Guess what? I don't care.
So someone asked him a question about it, because he's not facing them again. He didn't face them the first time, and Severino goes, "Well, they got two good hitters, and that's about it."
Oh my God.
I'm like,
Look,
Dad probably agrees with that.
I mean, look, it's the truth. I honestly don't care what Severino says. It is what it is. His success or failures no longer impact the Yankees anyway. So sorry, I can't. Sorry. Um, he's right though. He's right.
They're so
Are you gonna
scoreless.
argue against it?
No, I wouldn't argue against it.
Come on, Yankee
I think
fans.
he's right.
Come on, Yankee fans.
I just wouldn't have said anything before you go to play them because now you're giving them some bulletin board stuff.
But
But
let's be honest though. Can the Yankees actually execute that plan if they have it? If they were paying attention?
nah, listen, I don't know, man. Ben Rice hit 3 home runs in a game, and then
That's a fact. That is a damn fact. Big fan needs to have the Yankees and needs to see more hitting. We got that on Friday against the Rays, which is pretty nice. But it has to be consistent. And the pitching has to also be consistent. Right now, he's coming out of his shell, but Garrett Cole looks very good. He looks very good. Um, but man, everyone else just inconsistent. Don's inconsistent. He's probably going to go after the season. Um,
what has happened to Nestor Cortez?
Mr. Cortez, he is. You know what it is? I think they jumped the gun. I thought, look, after his first year as a full-time pitcher, he did very well, which I give him a lot of credit. But he gives me old Seth Lugo vibes, where he's a great reliever. He comes in, gets the job done, and then they jump the gun and make him a starter, which I at first didn't agree with. And of course, he changed. He proved me wrong, but then now he's proved me right again because to me, he's not really a starter. That's just me. He's either not truly a starter or he's on the wrong team starting.
Mm. All right, so yeah, Subway Series Part Two. That's this week. Nationally Wild Card Implication Series. We got the Reds going to Atlanta to play the Braves. The Braves split a doubleheader with the Cardinals yesterday. They'll play the rubber game today. And the Reds are in DC,
Yep.
and the Nationals beat them yesterday. So
Yeah, it was a late innings drama.
yeah,
The Nationals, they were able to get a late hit score and then win in the ninth inning.
they also got some tough news this week. Josiah Gray partially
How
torn
about
UCL.
how about that? He's gonna need surgery and he's missing this season and definitely half of 2025. That is not something you want to hear. You're a Nationals fan. So
Best of luck to him.
obviously you're Josiah Gray, you're heartbroken, but you're doing the right thing by making sure that you are fully healed and everything. Whatever needs to be checked will be checked. He's doing that something that Tanaka didn't do, which is actually get surgery to get
Yeah.
repaired. Now, of course, credit to Tanaka, he still was a very effective pitcher and did very well. But I just feel for someone like Josiah Gray who just started his
So
career,
young.
you're thinking that you're going to be the ace of the staff. That's not going to be the case anymore. That stinks. Um,
Yeah, but back into the Reds and the Braves. The Reds are an interesting team too as we approach the
yeah,
deadline because
well,
we've
they're
thought
around there too.
they're very right. They're right around the wild card. They're young. They're fun to watch. I'm inclined to see how aggressive they get. See what happens there. The Braves, listen, the Braves are going to be buyers. I think they could use another starter, and they might go out and get another bat because that's what they do.
They definitely have enough money for both renters and long term
Mm-hmm.
folks. Uh,
The problem with the long term is they don't have a position long term
exactly.
that's not locked up.
Exactly. And that's why I would go the rental
Yeah,
route.
exactly. Yeah.
Only because you have a lot of people, but then you also have to understand some of these players are now injury prone. So it's like,
Yeah, you gotta figure something out. Right.
like
No, 100%.
there has to be a backup plan. That's why having both sides of it, is probably a good idea for the Braves.
We got the Brewers and the Cubs rivalry matchup this week. The Brewers could put a big dent in the Cubs' playoff chances if they could win 2 out of 3 and
You know?
send their former manager a big message.
And what a job by Milwaukee. What a
Oh,
job. They've done a
great job.
terrific.
Phenomenal season.
And look, I was skeptical about pretty much all the NL Central
Oh, yeah.
because they all don't look like playoff teams. One of them is gonna get in, one of them has to because that's how baseball rules play out. But um I did not expect it to be the Brewers.
No.
I'll be the first to tell you. I thought it'd be more the Cubs, maybe the Cardinals have a bounce back, which they are. Um, but the Brewers, man, no props to them. And
Yeah, the Brewers have had a great year.
yeah,
Cubs have not. They've hit a little bit of a wall. The Diamondbacks go to the Royals, two young, fun, exciting teams, both on the preface of the wild card. So that should be fun. The Giants and Dodgers will renew their rivalry. Dan mentioned earlier, Clayton Kershaw's coming back. Tyler Glass now coming back for the Dodgers this week. And then the big interleague series is the Phillies and the Twins. The Phillies come out of the break. They've lost 2 to the Pirates. The Twins just put Carlos Correa on the injured list. So this could be a fun series in Minnesota.
fun for both teams or fun for the Phillies?
Oh, for the Phillies.
For the Phillies. I mean,
For
I'm
the
sorry.
Phillies. Phillies gonna bounce back in that series.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It
Minnesota.
was really bad series in Pittsburgh. Really, really bad series against Pittsburgh. Um, but that's bound to happen. Sometimes the good juices can't always go everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel horrible for Correa. I mean, he's the leader of that team, and he's gonna be gone for a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
plantar fasciitis.
of course, it's always the foot injuries, man. I
Hmm.
don't always the foot injuries.
Someone give him a foot. Oh man. All right. Is there anything else you wanted to touch upon?
No, just the fact that the Yankees better win the series against this Rays team. This Rays team is trash, dude. I mean, I'm sorry. You know, the reason why the Rays won yesterday is Mr. Cortez was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
This team stinks. Win the series. That's all I gotta say on that. And one last congratulations to all the Hall of Famers.
Yes.
We'll be watching part of the festivities today, and I really Hope that the crowd really acknowledges. You can disagree on whether they're first ballot, second ballot, 10th ballot. But one thing you should agree on is that all of these people that are being honored today are Hall of Famers, and we need to celebrate the game. And I'm glad that they're celebrating some of the best in baseball.
And they got a good day. Hopefully, it's not too hot out there.
Yeah, thank God, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it for this edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Dan, you want to plug the socials?
So, socials on X, we're at S Insanity Real, at S Insanity Real on Facebook as well. You can also just search the Sports Insanity Network. And then we're on the YouTube. You're watching this right now. You can hit subscribe. You can click on the bell for notifications. And comment on our videos, and we release a lot of good content, so please continue to support us as much as you can. And then also just big changes are coming, by the way, across the network. We're not going to tell you what just yet, but changes are coming. So stay tuned for all changes. It does involve using more of this YouTube channel. So please comment and subscribe on everything YouTube. And then of course, we have so many amazing podcasts like this one on all of those beautiful podcast platforms. Please follow our podcast and the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com.
Boom. For Dan, I'm Mike. Thank you for listening to this edition of the Batter Up podcast here on the Sports Insanity Network, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Talk to y'all next week. Have a good one and try to stay cool out there.
Totally. Yeah. Though it's gonna get a lot cooler, apparently. I don't know in New York, but in DC it's gonna get cooler. So that's good news.
Hopefully. Talk to y'all later.